Hi, this video is over opening and closing my stance and turning around for Taiji. Now, there's other styles of martial arts that would do something similar to this. The big thing is the weight distribution, where it's at, and how I'm turning the leg, right? I don't want to put pressure on my knee in the opposite direction. You know, my knee moves this way. I don't want pressure going in my knee this way, right? So we're going to start like this, though. So we're here to the front, and you can do this from a narrow stance if you would like. I'm going to use a little wider so I can show the piece a little more. So I'm here. Everything is the way that I need it. My hips not go back, go forward. Everything's relaxed. And I'm going to transfer. Right now, the weight is relatively equal. I'm going to transfer more of the weight to this leg, and I'm going to set something to the hip like this. Right? You can try it yourself if you want. Say third here, back in the middle, third here, back in the middle, third here. Right? So I'm going to put the weight over here, and as I do, I'm going to turn my leg, not my hip. I'm going to turn my leg, and I'm going to rotate on my heel. I'm going to turn my foot out like this, so that the hip is still to the front. Right? I'm going to turn it back. I transfer the weight over here, and again, I'm going to turn on the heel. And again, I'm just trying to turn the leg itself, not so much the hip bone. Turn it back. Okay? And if I wanted to turn it in, right, if I put the weight over here, and I try to turn, right, see how it transfers over? Drop the weight into this leg, and I'm going to draw the leg in, but look, I'm trying not to turn the hip. Turn it back. Put the weight over here. I turn it back. Now, we're going to try to turn both feet, right? So I'm going to put the weight here. I'm going to turn on the heel. Now, I'm going to transfer the weight to here. And I'm going to turn on the heel. I'm going to go backwards. The weight's already here, right? So I'm going to turn the leg in. I transfer the weight. I turn on the heel. Now, again, if this is not turned enough, and like if I want to go forward, I wouldn't want my knee to do this, right? So I would potentially take the time to, as I start to transfer some of the weight, I turn this and complete it. Or it's loaded and I turn with it, right? As I turn the foot, I turn the knee and the toes are in a line, right? Like this. So I'm not bending like this past my foot. Okay. So again, here, I transfer the weight here. I turn this out, and look how straight it is, right? Same thing. I can turn with the heel and the ball, and then transfer the weight all at the same time. If I want to go backwards, I shift the weight. I turn the foot. And look, I'll transfer the weight back here. I'll turn the foot. And then look, as I transfer the weight to this leg, I'm going to turn on the foot, the ball, and the heel, and transfer the weight onto this leg. Okay? So, turning around, it seems sometimes it's kind of hard for people to get it, and that's okay. That happens with everything, right? There's always some part that's more difficult. But in this situation, say I did something like this, right, and I want to turn around. I take the weight off, I turn the leg in, then I turn the hip, I keep turning, I turn on the foot, I can pull the foot up into a cat, send the foot back out, and then a crouching stance, and I shift the weight to the front. As I do, I rotate this foot so that there's no binding in the knee, right? The knee isn't aligned with the toes. I'm not twisting it past my foot. We really don't want that, right? We can turn it and then extend it, but we don't want to twist it like this, right? With all this pressure in the side. to me, the back foot needs to be turned at an angle. Now, some people I see, they do the leg like this. I don't know their intention or reason behind that, but I would say I wouldn't recommend doing that. You know, you keep trying to turn the hip, and you're going to feel it in the hip, you'll feel it in the knee. I just wouldn't recommend that. So again, we're here, and I take the weight off. Just bend this knee, I lower the weight, I turn the foot, I turn the hip. I keep turning the hip as I rotate the foot, and then look, I'm going to pull it up. I can send it back out, and then I'm going to rotate on the foot. As I do, I transfer the weight. Right? If I took a step through, and then I wanted to do it on the other side, I transfer the weight. Right? I turn the foot, step through. Transfer the weight. Right. I want to turn and go around, turn around and go back the other way. So I transfer the weight. I turn the foot, which turns the leg. I turn the hip. I transfer the weight here. I turn the heel or I turn the wall of the foot. Depending on the, we'll say maybe loose gravel or something. You may want to have a more firm grip. Now, foot and knee are in a line. I pull this up. I'm going to ensure that I step out far enough past my other foot. And then as I turn the foot, I straighten the leg and I transfer the weight to this leg. Back. Step me through. Again, whether I'm in this forward gait or I'm here, right? And how we maintain this is by having this knee a little more open, right? So here, I turn the foot, I step through, and the knee and the toe are in line. And in this way, I'm not having to turn the foot again, right? I can transfer. Take it back, I turn it just enough that I can engage the big toe, step through, and then as I straighten this, and again, if I'm in a forward lean like this, then I want to extend this and almost till it locks. If I want to be more upright, like this, and keep my hip in a line with my torso, I want to keep a little more bend in this back knee. Okay. I shift the weight back again. I turn the foot, and I step through. Straight line. And turn the foot in, I turn the hip across, I turn on this foot, I pull it across, turn on this foot, and shoot the weight to the front. Now, you don't have to do something like that, but not everybody has the, we'll say, limit. I'll show you what I'm saying. So I'm like this, I bend it, and look, I'm going to turn this in very far, right? And then look, as I turn the hip, I'm going to even turn it more, right? And so basically my foot and my knee are already almost in the right alignment, right? Not everybody has that, we'll say, range of motion in their hips. Remember, everything that, with what I do with Tai Chi, it's more about progression, right? We start somewhere and we want to keep building on it, not just to learn the forms, but to work on our bodies, improve some mobility, our range of motion, leg strength, balance, stability, all of that stuff, right? So, again, if you're starting and you're new, and we'll say you're using a more narrow stance, and I transferred the weight, I turned the foot, right? And then I put the weight back here, I turn this foot, and then look, I'm going to I'm going to take the weight and I'm going to transfer it to the lead leg, right? I'm pretty narrow on my stance. I could actually be over a little bit more. So from here, I take the weight off, I straighten me back up, I turn it slightly, I pull me through, and then as I shift the weight, I close the back knee, but I don't lock it. One more time, come back straight, step through, right? I'm going to get a little bit narrower. Now, I want to turn around, so I'm bending on the knee, I'm nice and straight. I turn the femur inside the hip. I turn the hip. I transfer the weight back. I pivot the foot. I bring it across. And if I need to make any adjustment, I do it as I'm shifting the weight. Take the weight off. I turn the femur first. Like that. Nice and loose. I turn the hip. I pull the foot across. And I shift the weight. I do it from this direction, right? Like this. Again, using a narrow stance. I've got my leg not locked, but closed. I open it. I put the weight back here. I turn the foot in, right? It's like my femur is very loose in the hip, right? I turn it. I turn the hip. I put weight back here. I turn the foot. I pull it across. But look, I'm facing here, right? So I know I need to turn the foot some to adjust, right? So as I turn the foot, I shift the weight to the front. When we go back the other way, I shift the weight off. I turn the hip, I turn the foot, I pull the foot across. Foot's a little bit off the angle, so as I transfer, I shift. So, I guess there's debates over everything, right? So, turning around, again, not everybody has the capacity to turn the foot in far enough and make a clean turn every time they do it. Not even somebody that's done it for a few years. So I would rather make that adjustment, micro adjustments, as I'm turning and shifting the weight, right? I just don't want to put my knee under a load side to side. Remember, it goes this way, right? So I don't want to do something where I'm doing this, right? I want to turn it. Now, there's a debate on the Marshall application part, where this foot is fixed, right? And doing this, right, the person's moving forward, when they're doing this, and then on the end, they twist on the cord, right? Some people, they feel that, say the foot's like this, and the person's here, so they're kind of like in a crouching stance, and the foot's turned out like that, right? And they feel that to generate the power that they need to turn the foot, straighten the leg, to turn the hip, to generate force with the cord, like this, right? Turn the foot out, turn. Okay, well, to me, that makes the movement longer. Is it applicable? Yes, it is. But it's usually not done in most of the Tai Chi forms. If you put it in context, you were if the foot's already 45 degrees, and you're like this, right? You're in a kind of stance, and you're in an offensive or defensive position, and you want to strike the person in front of you. This knee is not locked, right? And the knee is open, and more like this more than like this. And so when the person lunges forward, the momentum happens from this springing forward action. And then when this bases itself and the weight shifts, then the waist will turn to generate force, right? So the power part was this, right? that you generated from momentum, right? And the force part is the rotation of the core when you make the strike. Does that make sense? Or for that matter, the push, or whatever, the hand strike, whatever it may be. Both work. But if I was like this and I was in this long stance, then this will give me the extension I need, the force going down, reaction force, turning the hip and turning the waist. That works great, right? And the foot's already here. You can also do it like this. You could draw it out and do this motion. But this has its place. Meaning, I throw me out, and when I do it, look, my hip is over here. When it finishes, this whole thing opens and the hip turns. And then if you can incorporate the core, you'll get that additional force power that you need when you make the final connection. Well, you've already made the connection, but then to penetrate with force. So I don't think that one's wrong or one's right. I think certain forms may have certain pieces, right? Because like sometimes you'll see the single whip done and the person is moving out, and as this whip goes forward, the foot turns. So it's not that it's not done in Tai Chi, it's just that it's done at certain intervals, right? Certain movements are doing it. Turning around is one of those times when it's, in my opinion, it's needed, is what I'm getting at. Right? I'm here like this, right? And as the weight comes off and he turns, right? More than likely, he won't have been able to turn it in on the way. He probably would have turned it like this, or maybe slightly in. Like I said, most people can't turn their feet in like this, or something close to it. We'll say, right? It's hard to get them to turn the foot around, right? Or turn the foot, deep inside. So again, the weight's here. As he transfers it off and he turns this in, he pulls this up. See, this happens, right? That is a time where it's needed in the forms, right? And a time that I would use it in application. Say I'm here and something comes from behind me. If we look at it from the application point, right? And he shifts to turn, and then he moves his body out, right? And then here, there's the power. It doesn't mean that you can't do it through each and every piece throughout the form that has this type of bow stance, right? So what I'm sharing with you is, don't just disagree with somebody that says it like this or they do it like that. I think both of those ways of utilizing power in the Tai Chi is great. But I personally, I'm going to specifically, in the traditional forms, I'm going to specifically, put that, some people call this foot grinding, right? I mean, it's the same thing that you would do as a boxer who rotates, right? Or even in Sun Tai Chi, right? You open, and then you draw the foot gets drawn in, right? It gets drawn in. Or it falls back, right? He's opening, he's closing his body, he's opening and closing. And the boxing is more like it's twisting down, and it turns the femur, which turns the hip, right? But still, to get the force, they would still use the core. This would just generate power, right? But the internal force that you're doing, it would come from this contraction here of the core muscles. But as I've shared in some other videos, if I do one of these stances and I'm rotating on the foot like this, I can definitely send all of the power forward. See? I can send it all forward. But when you use a long stance like this and you try to pivot it, a lot of times it will send weight backwards, right? Some people will do it on the ball of the foot, and it will definitely send weight back, power backwards. In other words, you're robbing yourself of power. even if they turn on the foot, like this sometimes, big portion of the power is going backwards. You really have to engage it and think that it's all moving like this, right? To get anything out of that, you know, or again, you lose power. Harder to lose it from this movement, right? Or this movement, right? Pulling it up and doing it, or pivoting and doing it. Anyway, the most important part of this is, again, whether I'm going to use a big stance. So I'm here, I bend, I transfer the weight, I turn this foot in as far as I can, then I start to turn the hip, I pivot on this foot. I'm here, right? I pull the foot across. Now my foot is over here, but I'm still facing this way, right? I know I need to pivot on this foot because if I do it like this and just extend the leg and twist the waist, I'm going to leave the foot and put pressure in the knee, right? So as I turn the foot, I'm going to turn the hip, right? And I'll transfer the weight. That's the most important part of it that you want to get down, right? Or I'm like this and I want to turn around. I take the weight off, I turn the foot from the leg in. I turn the hip. My foot's over here, my center is facing here. I pull the foot across. It's not going to line up, right? So if I do this, I'm going to end up twisting on the knee and pushing it over, and it's going to rob me of power, and I'm going to have a weak point now on the knee to generate power or to accept power, right? So I have to turn the foot to turn me to the front, right? And don't lock out this knee, right? It's more, turn it, I turn me, my center is over here, but I'm going this direction. Even if I pull the foot over, see, I don't put pressure in this knee either, right? Now, as I start to transfer the weight, I grind or I turn the foot and transfer the energy to the front. Now, whether I'm doing it with a more open knee, right, so I'm more upright, or I'm doing it where I almost lock the knee and my body is in a forward gaze, like this. So anyway, I hope that doesn't make it more confusing, but it's important to kind of get this down. And if you see me from behind, say I'm here, whether I'm in this gate or I'm here already, it doesn't matter. When I turn, some people have the tendency to lean out when they turn, and some people have the tendency to lean back, right? Try your best to keep your torso upright, right? So I'm here, I take the weight off, and look, I'm going to try to turn me, pull it across, and then shift, right? So I keep my posture, keep my stability, right? If I lean forward, I'm going to have to try to recover from that. I lean back, I have to try to recover, and I'm having to get my body to work harder, right? So again, I'm here. I pivot, say I want to try to keep me upright. I pivot in the hip, I pull the foot across, my hip is facing over here, I turn on the foot, and I turn me back to the front, either whether I'm here or I'm here. And again, it doesn't matter if you're in a short stance or small stance or large stance. Okay. So I hope that helps for doing the turning around, right? And you have other things going on, like hand moves, right? The person has to do all of these pieces together. But if you separate it out in the beginning and get the feet, and again, the way I'm sharing this right now is a very fundamental way of doing this. So you can make it more refined and make it look cleaner and all of that. But what I'm focused on right now is, can the person do this without putting too much pressure on the knee joints, the ankle joints, and can they keep their balance and make the idea of a turnaround, right? That's all that's important right